Before Rick and Morty, Dan Harmon created Community, a sitcom following a group of students attending Greendale Community College, as they form a study group and become the most unlikely friends. Starring Joel McHale, Gillian Jacobs, Danny Pudi, Allison Brie, Yvette Nicole Brown, Donald Glover, Ken Jeong, Chevy Chase, Jim Rash, and John Oliver. It was a simple sitcom premise of a found family in a friend group with a charming main male lead, and it even aired on NBC's most popular weeknight. And yet the show never gained in popularity while it aired. However, almost a decade later, the series has this cult like following because of its love and homage to film with hilarious quotable jokes, unforgettable characters. Even despite off screen drama, it continues to be one of the most relevant shows till this day, and one of my most loved shows I have ever seen. Welcome back to Mario Watches Everything, where we dive too deeply on shows I love and deemed important. We are discussing Community with my guest, Johnny. We're in the segment where we go into episodes and we recap them to discuss the points that we were talking about earlier. We are discussing the Community episode, Season 2, Episode 14, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Now, with Community, nothing happens continuous per season because every episode is almost a standalone. In Season 2, though, there is this ongoing beef between Pierce and the rest of the study group, though. Especially in Season 2, there's this very ongoing, I would say, fallout between Pierce and the rest of the study group. It's like his extreme villain arc. This is when things really get bad. In this episode, if you couldn't tell, there is a Dungeons and Dragons episode theme. This is, as we were mentioning, some episodes have a theme. This one is Dungeons and Dragons. Before we get into it, Dungeons and Dragons is not obviously a film or TV. Do you have a theory as to why they picked Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, it's because Dan Harmon loves Dungeons and Dragons. He used to do his own little podcast called Harmontown.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
That
it's so
makes
good.
so much. I was like, why Dungeons and Dragons? Because like this was not exactly like popular during that time.
No, it's like it was honestly I think, and I hate giving credit to it to some extent, but I think like Dungeons and Dragons really got popular, like or it became a further or people gained more awareness of it in pop culture because of Big Bang Theory. Because they played that on the show and everything. And like that's fun. I hate admitting, but that's also where I was like, "Oh, Dungeons and Dragons. What is this that these nerds on Big Bang Theory are playing?" I'm like, "I'm a nerd. I should try it." And I do play it.
That's really fun. I would because this was obviously pre Stranger Things, and Stranger Things definitely put it on my radar. Unfortunately, before this, so. But like I was gonna say, like before, like Community does homages to like a lot of movies, but like the Dungeons and Dragons come, and like there's no, it's not exactly like it's very theatrical for sure, but it's not exactly. There's no movies about Dungeons and Dragons before this. It's very medieval, and there's obviously like I don't know, it gives that vibe, but it's not. I was very confused as to where the inspiration came, but now it makes sense. Dan
Mhm.
Harmon is a nerd, but we love
Yes.
that about him.
Fun fact as well, just like there's Dungeons and Dragon references in Rick and Morty, there's two comic book crossovers between Rick and Morty and Dungeons and Dragons too.
Very makes
Funny
sense.
enough,
Very makes sense.
so
Okay.
yeah.
So, getting into the actual episode. So, it starts out with a narrator that is like a new narrator that we never heard of, giving us introduction to a new character called Fat Neil. Very unfortunate title, but it goes into Neil's origin story essentially. Already getting chills with just the narrator themselves, talking about how Neil, whenever they were in high school and elementary school, were given the title Fat Neil. He was hoping for a new change whenever they started community college, but unfortunately, you hear that when he was in the hallway, someone says, "Over there by Fat Neil," and now it haunts him in community college at Greendale. So the narrator says, at one point, Neil decides to find an escape that we dare not speak. So now they have to turn to our study group, and we now have the introduction to the study group, giving amazing names. So we have the introduction with Jeff the Liar of son William the Barely Known, who now expresses an interest to D&D and is talking to Neil. This gives us the introduction to Annie the Day Planner, who counsels Troy the Obtuse, Shirley the Cloying, Abed the Undiagnosable, my favorite, Britta the Needlessly Defiant, and for reasons that should be obvious, Pierce the Insensitive, also known as Pierce the Dickish, and Grandpa the Flatulent, who was obviously not invited. I just want to point out that Pierce is given many names, and I want to say that is kind of a high honor.
Yeah.
Everyone was given one. He was given many. Just showing
Yeah.
man of many
Pierce
names.
the Dickish is still my favorite though, because just no better title for him than that.
Yeah, I still really like Britta the needlessly defined.
That one is the good one.
um, Jeff the Liar, son of William the Unbarely Unknown, is pretty great too. This is just so
Yes.
clever.
And because this is also like before we meet Jeff's dad too, which is
Exactly.
even better.
Yeah, we had
But
no
like
idea his name was William.
exactly.
Yeah,
Also, I just wanted to quickly point. I think this is the first time I noticed them changing the animation or the intro of the title sequence.
exactly. The group has decided that they're going to play Dungeons and Dragons that Saturday, and that they're going to make sure that Neil definitely wins. They realize that Chang has been there the whole time. This is when Chang is desperately trying to become in the study group, and they realize it's too awkward, so they just let him join. They realize that they will play a very important game that will not only save a life, but also change the bounds between good and Pierce. It's a very clever episode. Just
It
saying.
is. It's so well written.
Yeah. Then the credits play. It opens up to Chang as a dark elf, also known as a Trow, and yes, that means he is in blackface. We will get into that, but Shirley points out immediately, so we're just going to ignore the hate crime. And yes, they do.
In Chang's defense, oh god, I never thought I'd admit on a podcast I'm defending blackface, but he is wearing like sharp ears and has like a
Ears.
silver wig on. It's not like he's got jet black hair with blackface.
Yeah.
So
So then Jeff responds, "Well, shouldn't you be in armor?" And he's like, "I'm not dressed as a nerd. He's
yeah.
dressed as a Trow." Many streaming services have like not put this episode on
They
like their
removed the
sites.
episode.
Remove the episode.
This is
It
during
is a very
2020 when they
controversial
did
episode because
this.
of this reason, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very controversial episode for sure because of this reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Chang takes everything too far, and he definitely takes this too far. That is
mhm.
understood. Neil responds with, "So you guys just randomly want to play D&D?" And Troy goes, "Yeah, we love
Yeah.
playing D&D. It makes you happy like a dragon."
Exactly. Which, for the record, like if Troy were to have sat down with Abed and have a proper understanding of D&D, he would love it so much more. He would want to play it every week.
I know, and I feel like Abe would have killed Dungeon Master. He did his best. He actually
Yeah,
did a really good job, I
he
think.
did.
He explains the rules. He gives them a little like character sheet. Obviously, Neil has his own character named Duncan. They're playing the adventure campaign.
Yep.
Cavern of Draconis. Draconis is a dragon that has treasure. Everyone grabs a sheet. He explains that this is a role playing game. He has Jeff go first. Jeff is bad at this game.
Yeah.
Shocker, he has no imagination. So Shirley takes it upon herself to introduce herself, and her name is something that is her name is Zippity Doo.
Yep.
And suddenly it's Annie who introduces herself, and
As
she is Hector the Well
Hector the
Endowed.
Well Endowed, and it's like, well, I didn't know you guys were gonna grab them randomly. I had Troy in mind for that one,
And Shirley
and
goes, "I
Shirley
bet
comes in
you."
with the best comment, like, "I'm sure you did."
They are just good friends, okay?
They're just really good friends, but also probably Abed would probably know.
Britta's great because then she just starts describing everything she owns. I have a belt. I have a sash. Who knew they'd be bad at this? Dan Harmon, apparently.
Dan Harmon 100%, but also like I feel like that's so indicative of so many early like first timer D&D groups.
Oh yeah, okay.
It would have been even funnier though had Abed when like you're making your own characters. Like that could have been a whole episode in and of itself.
Oh, okay. Because my thought process, like, my thing was like, when I was watching this, I'm like, do you think Dan Harmon knew they'd be bad? Do you think Dan Harmon purposely made them bad? Like, what was I was trying to figure out? Like, did he know the characters would just be this terrible?
I think the main thing that Dan Harmon went into for this is like each character is going to be good at something that is very informed by how he wrote them to begin with. Like Annie was very good with the role playing aspect, shall we
She was. She took it
say.
very seriously,
She
and
took
it
it
helped.
very seriously. And Jeff is just like he's lucky because he's like, I'm just gonna do this and it works out, you
Yeah,
know?
Britta was not good at anything, but that is
Britta was
very
not good at anything, and Britta was, as we said earlier, the AT&T of people.
yeah. Chang takes it too far.
and doesn't get too far while at it.
Yeah. He's brutal. What is it?
Brutalitops,
Brutalitops.
the magician, magic user, baby, as he goes.
Then gets immediately hit by an arrow.
Immediately
I'm
shot
not.
with an arrow,
Yeah.
and then gets killed by Piers.
Yeah. Um, my favorite. Okay, so literally, this is what happens next. He introduces himself. He's the magician elf. Gets hit by an arrow.
Yep.
The
Which is
third
also
place.
just like, I feel like that's like Abed's own way of going like, I don't like you here. Please leave.
I think that's like so. So this is the other thing that's happening in season 2 is that Chang is desperately trying to get in the study group,
Mhm.
and instead of like being nice enough to Chang and being like, "Hey, no," they just like keep him around and then figure out ways to get him to like not be in the study group. Like there's that dance
Mhm.
episode where they're having the
Oh
dance
god, yeah.
marathon, and Chang has been dancing all night for them, and then they get there and they lose the dance competition.
After his body just pretty much fails.
So Chang literally does blackface or this, and then he
Yep.
gets hit by an arrow.
It's just, if you were to surmise that for someone real quickly without context for most of the show, they just like, the hell?
That's Community, our favorite show in the world.
Yeah. Non intentional blackface, out of nowhere being struck by an arrow. You know how it
Yeah.
goes.
Next great line is as the troll, as these trolls are, oh no, goblins are running towards them. Britta goes, maybe it's their woods. We should have a conversation. And then Sun Troy goes, "You are the AT&T of
TOT of
people."
people. Which, to a full extent, like, we get it. Yes, Britta, there are deeper meanings to these often. But in this
Shut
instance,
up.
we're just trying to get Neil to not commit suicide.
Shut up. Then Jeff throws his knife style, commits
Yep.
damage.
Which, oh god, this is another thing that kind of got me, is that like when you play D&D, every player has their own set of dice. You roll your own dice. But
Oh,
in
do they
this,
even have dice?
no, it's just Abed and he's rolling for everyone. Which works because then you get to skip a lot of unnecessary aspects of it, and you just have Abed who gets
Hilarious.
to, like, knowing Abed, he would 100% remember the details of every single character that he made, and he has the interactions and stats of other characters he's using, so he would just be able to do it off the top of his head. That makes sense to me. It's just when you do D&D, there is a thrill of it when you roll your own dice. And I think an
Oh my
aspect of
god.
that was lost. Because,
Oh
like,
my
imagine
god.
that Neil moment where Abed's like, that's a tough throw. You're going to need an 18 or higher. And instead of Abed rolling it, it's Neil rolling it.
Oh my god. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that. I didn't even know that.
Perks of being a D&D nerd.
Yeah. No, it's just so funny because it's like that's like literally because no one knows what's kind of like I was just thinking about I'm like people they're just kind of talking.
Yep.
I didn't even know if they were going in turn because until the end, there's like whenever I think it's like whenever Pierce is trying to do something, he's like, "It's not your turn." I'm like, "Are they going in turns?"
Yep.
They have not been
It's
going in turns,
more
have they?
often than not, it is turn based.
Yeah, but
At least
were
when
they
it's in
going in
order,
turns
it's turn
before
based.
that?
But, like, depending on the group and how chaotic they are, in this
Yeah,
case, very chaotic, a
yeah,
lot of people will just talk over each other. Just like, I don't
yeah.
want to do this. I want to do this. I will prevent them from doing this.
I felt like they weren't going in turns until it was convenient for Pierce to be not his turn.
Yeah.
So
When it comes to combat, everyone obeys the turn system, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of Pierce, well, actually, Neil draws a sword. He does a
Yeah.
great job. And then Pierce comes, and obviously is Pierce.
The music and the way they did that shot of him just like peering in like a
Yeah,
fucking, like the nun almost in the Conjuring films. It's just like, Jesus.
is very the nun.
This is very the nun. And then he comes in and Pierce is just being
he,
despicable.
he
Like
makes
the most despicable we've ever seen him.
he makes a homophobic joke first.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Then makes a fat joke about Neil, of course.
Yep.
It's just great. He just turns and then insists on being in the game.
Yep. And then the funniest part is just was it Abed goes like, you find a naked man who will die in like 13 turns, and Jeff just goes, I wait 14 turns.
Yep.
I'm like, appropriate.
Yep. Then he steals Neil's sword,
The Sword of
kills.
Duquesne.
Yep.
And kills Chang by just going, I attack blackface. Which is even funny because it's just Pierce going like, no, I see the blackface. I don't see a problem with it. Here's it normalized.
That's what I mean. He comes in as the nun, makes offensive comments, steals, kills someone, and he's only been there for 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, he because like the entire it's supposed to be a campaign that Abed's got the knowledge to, he's got most of it down, and here's Pierce derailing everything. So
Yep.
yeah.
How much? And think about the amount of time Abed spent on this, probably.
Well, okay, assuming because I think Abed didn't spend too much time. It's just more so him reading the books, if
Oh,
anything,
true,
because
true,
like
true.
D and
Yeah.
D, you have pre-made adventures, which is what I think they were doing.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
fair. All right, so I did not know that, but still, Pierce is the worst. I
Pierce
stand
is
by
the worst.
that. Then, obviously, Chang leaves in dramatic fashion,
Yeah,
and Neil is crying.
and then
And
Jeff puts on dad mode,
yeah, and then Pierce was like, "Am I winning?" Because that's all he cares about. I think it's the
which
other. Sorry, go
it's
ahead.
just it's just so indicative of the character because at the end of the day, D&D isn't about winning. It is
Exactly.
just it's turn-based teamwork, collaborative, just problem solving.
Yeah.
And then here's Pierce go like, I want to screw everyone over. Like if I don't win and others lose, then there's no point to anything.
And again, we were talking about this before. Like, it's like that whole generation of like, well, what's the point if you're not winning?
Yeah.
It's just that like this idea of like being number one. This
Hmm.
is how you like. This is the whole point of life, right? This is
It's
how
just
you get friends. This is how you get
it's just
anything in your
Pierce
life.
going like, I didn't get enough attention when I was a child, so I
Yeah.
will consistently make myself the center of attention and make sure you are all dreading it.
And this is how I earn love.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then so then Jeff tells him and Abed too, like, hey, it's really important that Neil wins this because like Neil is severely depressed, which I do actually really commend the community spent an episode talking about depression and suicide.
Hmm.
And then Pierce, again, true Pierce fashion says, of course he's depressed. Look at him. I bet he's using depression to get a piece of cake his whole life.
Yeah. Which is just like, God damn.
It has been 3 minutes of Pierce being on screen, by the way.
Not it's probably even less than that, let's be honest.
Like, just like this is probably one of the worst. This is his worst,
I
probably.
think this is like the moment Dan Harmon, everyone went like, we're just going to make Pierce the absolute worst in this episode and then just progress from there.
Yeah, I'm really happy we're discussing his death in the next episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a very good follow up.
It's an excellent follow up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but at some point it's funny, at least one of my favorite moments, it's where Jeff comes in just like, here's our objective. We will find Pierce and we will kill him and we
Yeah.
will just get the sword back to,
And I'm really glad that Abed's like, you have to be separated then.
yeah.
Like, go
I like how
away.
it's like you into a separate freaking janitor's room.
Yeah.
And then he gets Garrett in on it somehow.
Which I love. I have to tell you, I was going to bring this up later, but Garrett is one of my favorite jokes of Community too. But I'll
Same.
bring that later.
Him and Starburns.
The very funny ongoing joke.
Yeah.
It's almost a bottle episode until Pierce leaves. Like, it's
Yes.
almost a
That's
bottle
the
episode.
only reason why it isn't.
Exactly. So they have to find. So the now objective is getting the sword back from Pierce. They do this
Yes.
by finding a Pegasus. So the gang has to describe walking, and
Hmm.
so the gang walked.
And they walked, and it's like a quick 15-second montage of them describing how they walked.
They make it to this elf tavern, and they have to talk to a gnome. And
Yes.
guess who can speak gnome?
Britta. And then Jeff is like, this should be good. Which is like just the perfect embodiment of how the audience must have been when they're like, oh, of course it's Britta.
And this is why it goes great with the whole like it's a ball episode, because this is again another great character study. And Loki, maybe this was why Dan Harmon wanted them to do a D&D, because
Mhm.
this is a great character development episode. Because of
Yep.
course, if Britta was the one to speak no, she would be like, "Why is he beleaguered? Oh no, why are you calling me that?" Like,
You're a class 5 higher being than I. You're like,
she's
no,
like,
don't
"Don't
talk
talk
like
to yourself
that.
like that."
Oh, God.
I will say I really like their moment that they shared at the end where she's just like, I wouldn't expect you to understand Jeff whenever she finds his body. That was really cute though. I do appreciate Britta for those little
It is.
moments.
It's fun. It's the most Brita thing you can do, and they make it just tragic enough that you're like, oh, I can't hate you for this.
I low key am a Brita apologist at times for these reasons,
Same.
unfortunately.
Same
Yeah.
way I will defend Brita saying bagel just because it's so funny to me.
It's so funny. Back when she
Because I
said
will occasionally just go bagel.
um so then she says Pegasus and he's like, ah, Pegasus, a word that I know
I
in
want to
every
know in
language.
every language, and Jeff just gives him like this dead stare of like, I hate this. Why?
Um, and then Abed is a young maiden who likes
Yes.
Jeff. Jeff is again bad at role playing. So then
Which
Annie
also
makes the
speaks
deal.
to him probably in bed when Britta
Exactly.
comments, just going, "You're a
Wait,
selfish lover."
and then that's whenever she brings up, he's like, what am I, wait, what am I bad at?" And she's like,
Yeah.
sex. Which Joe comes back. Annie, on the other hand, is amazing at this. They go into an in-depth little montage of them explaining this, and Joy is taking notes.
I will never not laugh at Troy just flipping over his page and like just
My
writing it
favorite,
down, and then just the bit ends with Annie going like, "And I spoon her and just stroke her hair for an appropriate amount of time," and then cuts to Troy just going, "And how long is that?"
amazing moment. Shirley's face the whole time is just like,
Just the horror, and just like, oh.
oh my.
It's just like it'd be funnier if she had like prayer beads or something like that. It was like clutching pearls.
I feel like she did do something that was hilarious. Like maybe, oh no, or something. Like she did
Yeah, no, there's like
something.
a like when she was like when Annie describes like flipping someone over and just smacking their asses. You just see Shirley like, oh,
The reactions were priceless. It was perfect.
they were
This is a
perfect.
great episode. I have to say, this
Yes,
was
it is.
definitely like one of the better episodes of Community. Like, it's a
Hmm.
shame it's taken off because of a hate crime.
Yep.
It's not a shame. Hate crimes are bad.
Yes,
Things.
but like at the same time, like it's not even a minute. They acknowledge it. Like even Yvette Nicole Brown has come to the defense of the joke, where she's like, "We address
The
the
hate
how it's
crime.
horrible.
Yeah.
We clearly point out that this is not okay,
Yeah.
and then we remove it from the moment, and then just yeah,
But the thing is, it is still a hate crime.
yeah,
It's just it's like one of those like other shows have done. So I guess since we are on the topic of it, you're a fan of It's Always Sunny, right?
yes, and they removed many episodes for said same reason.
For their hate crimes as well.
Hmm.
So it's just like I think when this show came out, it was a time where this also happened all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like these episodes have to come out, and this one's out with the intention that like it was a different type of it was an elf, but also is meant to be a double entendre essentially, or
Hmm.
a double meaning.
Yeah.
So it's addressed, but it's still wrong.
Yeah. And like I
um,
think I need to
yeah.
go check, but because I don't really have Netflix, I have a
Yeah.
friend who does, so I might get them to check for me. But like I think they added it back.
I don't I think it's I mean it's on Peacock, but I don't think it's back on Prime. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's very interesting. But like it's again, it's like one of those things that it's like, yeah, like it's very it's obviously always going to be wrong.
Hmm.
That's
I
just all
don't
I
want to
can
say
say.
funny enough, but at the same time, like because of that episode getting banned or getting removed from streaming, it's the reason why I bought the DVD collection. Because at the end of the day, I love physical media, and I hate the pure idea of a network being able to just remove things because whatever reasoning they might have. Because I
Yeah.
think all media serves a purpose, no matter how terrible it is, and there's consistent moments where you should and can learn from it.
Yeah, I think it's like there's been other times where people have there have been other jokes with blackface where it's been handled poorly,
Hmm.
and I feel like it's because like and where people have called it out
Yeah.
within the reference of it, and I feel like this is was like one of those times where it was done in a different context. But I
Hmm.
said again, it's still wrong, is what
Yeah.
I was saying. You know?
It is
Yeah.
interesting as well though, because
Mhm.
like around the time this episode was removed, people are calling this stuff out, but at the same time, they didn't remove other things for other races, like Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah,
They got a
I know.
white guy doing the most racist and stereotypical Asian things,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
arguably worse than Chang doing blackface. I know I'm
Mhm.
Asian, but they're both done very differently and in different tastes, where one is genuinely worse than the other,
I know, and
but
people
they're
still
never
do it
addressed.
to this
Exactly.
day. And
Yeah.
we still see people do like brown washing and like Asian washing to this day.
Yeah.
So like yeah, so it's like it's again like there's layers to this, right? And there's context
Yeah.
to it too. And people still do blackface to this day, you know?
Yeah.
And yet that media is still here.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting because again, like I will say like it's very the context of this is very different compared to like when people are actually doing a race swap, like a
Yeah.
race actually like race like face essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah. But back to the show and the actual
Yes.
context of this. um, Now the Abed goes and visits Pierce. So Pierce is very good at D&D.
Which is just so funny to me
Yeah,
that Pierce is good at it because he wants to win and beat them.
he's
And
very
it's just
motivated when it comes to
exactly,
his
and
own
there's
desires.
nothing technical behind it that he can fuck up.
Exactly. It's role playing, essentially, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
as we've seen from Pierce's mansion, he enjoys role playing.
yeah, he's a nerd. Let's be honest, he's a
Yeah.
nerd. Yeah,
In his heart, like the way Dan Harmon originally created Pierce as well is like it was supposed to be Pierce and Troy who were supposed to be friendly with each other because they both have childish senses of humor, but to some degree they are also nerdy. Same with Jeff and Abed in just varying different degrees, of course, right?
exactly.
So
But
like
like,
this,
and I feel like Jeff and Abed did end up working, but again, it's
yes,
like, but Chevy squandered his character.
yes, exactly.
So, all right,
But
so
it's so interesting that this is the episode where we are meant to despise Pierce the most, but this also kind of makes Pierce one of the smarter characters in terms of capabilities and knowing what to do mechanically for a game.
exactly,
He just lacks certain creativity aspects behind it and problem solving skills.
yeah. I also blame because of his father.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pierce pretends to have been captured, and Abed brings a body back to the study group.
Yeah.
And but they find out in closer expansion is actually the gnome because
It's
turns
the
out
gnome
Pierce has found the amulet that ends up controlling
drilling the
Draconis
dragon.
dragon. So they hear from the distance wings flapping, and on the back of it is a naked Pierce.
And but while at it, I love how everyone wants to attack, and then Pierce, not even realizing how much of a nerd he's being, I think just goes, "Time stop."
You know, and he can cast spells now.
Exactly. It's just like,
What?
okay.
And what does he do with those casting spells? Shapeshift Neil.
He he, he makes Neil's character fat, and trigger warning for a lot of people. Pierce's words, he also rapes the Duquesne family.
Oh God, I forgot about that part.
Which is like, okay, and we're back to Hayden Pierce.
And then he reveals that, and then Neil's like, "Well, I didn't ask for this; they invited me." And Neil's like, "You know
Mm-hmm.
why?" And he revealed it's because Jeff is the one that named it Fat Neil.
Mm-hmm.
The study group is shocked because they didn't know, and then Troy goes, "Huzzah!"
That is legit my favorite thing in all of Community, where is Troy being so emotionally broken and just letting out the whimpers of joy that is within him, just going, huzzah!
You know, poor.
And you can just see the pain and
I'm really shocked that
everything.
Troy is not good at D&D.
I am too.
He literally go additional notes. It's all he contributed at one point.
Which is so funny as well. He's like, I will attack by using my additional notes.
Yeah, like you literally
Like,
um
oh, poor sweet baby boy.
yeah, like you play all the day, all the
Yeah.
time. What do you
They
mean with
have
that in D and
they have
D?
that virtual playroom, right?
Yeah, this is what you do.
Yeah.
Um, but the episode ends up having a turnaround. Jeff and like Neil have a heart to heart,
Hmm.
and I think Neil, like I don't know, he finds maturity in it. I don't really get how. I don't really question it.
I think it comes from a place of Neil acknowledging the fact that it's not malicious in many
Yeah.
regards, and that there is guilt on top of it.
I feel like it's
Right?
everyone realizing that they're better than Pierce.
Yeah.
And they
It's
can never
legitimately everyone just go like, okay, we know what bad is. Let's not
it,
stoop to it.
yeah.
But
So
also,
they
I can't get over the fact that Neil's like, yeah, no, but like, I only said you were fat, Neil, because you were near the other Neil. Then he's like, why not call him skinny Neil? But I'm like, he's not really all that skinny.
and
And
he's
he's
like,
like,
wanna
he's
come
black.
because I don't see race.
It's like I
Okay.
don't operate like that. And then he's like, I'm not trying to take the moral high ground here. I'm far from that.
Yeah. My thing is like I think Jeff realizes that he's a bad person though too.
Yeah.
And I think that's like another thing about Jeff that like I kind of do appreciate about the show is that they always will recognize that Jeff sucks, but he's never as bad as Pierce.
No. No.
And Jeff will always call out that he sucks, which is another thing that we will bring up in the next episode.
Mhm.
Then everyone uses their turn to pity Pierce because they
Yes.
realize they're bad. They may suck, but they're not as bad as Pierce.
And they don't have as much of an ego as Pierce.
Exactly. Um, and then Pierce doesn't like that, of course. So he uses his turn to unfreeze time.
And
But
then
uses his
that's his
turn.
turn.
So then that was Neil's turn, and he uses his turn to throw his sword at the amulet,
Yeah.
which it works because the drag, like he has, I guess,
It
Puppet
frees
has
the
his dice.
dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the dragon eats Pierce, and then
Huzzah!
everything's nice and happy. And then
Um,
like the study group leaves going like, oh yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. That was fun.
yeah. The narrator, which is my favorite part, goes, Pierce doesn't realize this, but he saves Neil's life
Yeah.
and learns absolutely
Absolutely
nothing,
nothing.
which is such a reflection of Chevy Chase. He learns
Yes.
nothing the whole time.
Oh god. And I also love the reveal of the narrator by the end too.
Who
Where it's
was
just
it?
like this cleaning Latina lady with like a very British voice.
I think that was the best part because the end credit scene for me was okay, but that part was great.
That part was very fun for me. But yeah,
Great episode. One of like the best episodes of like the whole
100%. This
series.
is like one of this is like if someone were to go like, yeah, no, like what's one episode of Dungeon of Community I should definitely watch. This
Yeah,
would be one of them, I think.
it's I would say universally one of the favorite, like everyone's favorite episode too. They try to
Yeah.
recreate it because they there's another Dungeons and Dragons episodes
Yes,
later
with
on,
David Cross. Funny
which you
enough.
would think would be great, but it just doesn't hit the same.
I think it's fine, but I
It's
think
fine.
where it the shortcomings of that episode, of course, come from the fact that they have Buzz Hickey in it, who is a fairly new character, who we don't really know, who we don't have that level of connection to in any regards. Whereas by this point, we've had 2 seasons, or we're at season 2, and we've had way more
Yeah, true.
episodes
That's a very good
with
point.
all these characters together. Like
Yeah,
even with Neil, right? Because like we've gotten Neil in the background so many times. We've had him interact with characters every now and then. I'm pretty sure like the first time I really noticed Neil is when he got Britta concert tickets or something like that,
yeah.
and her payment is just flashing him.
Mezzanine.
That ends with her going mezzanine.
I know
So
exactly
like
what you're talking about.
we've had these. We don't know Neil too much as a character, but we've seen him enough times that we do feel a connection.
That's very
Right.
true. I just you're right. The stakes I think are just so much higher
Hmm.
in this case. I also think the jokes are really funny.
They
I
are.
will say, like, I don't mind the because we're going to go into season 5 now in the next
Yeah.
episodes, and yeah, the emotional stakes are still there, but it was just funnier.
It's so much funnier,
The chemistry
and
is just there.
of course we're not missing other characters.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah.
yeah. The other
There was just
characters help a
something.
great deal.
There was just some chemistry. There was just the timing, the chemistry, the
Hmm.
stakes. They hit a very good groove,
Yeah.
and yeah.
No, it
Um,
is just it's I there's nothing I would change with this episode. It's
Perfect.
cohesive, it's tight, it's
It's a
just good.
yeah. I think it's a top community episode
Yeah.
for sure. Very recommendable, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so going into the next episode, which is a very good follow up with this episode, because this is
Yes.
the episode where we officially write off Chevy Chase's character, Pierce Hawthorne. It is season 5, episode 4. Up until now, Dan Harmon is back. This is when the Yahoo. It's now on Yahoo. Up until now, actually, Pierce has been kind of petered out anyway. You don't see him much, but this is when you officially this is the official death of Pierce Hawthorne.
Like 3 episodes ago, we had gotten him as a hologram because he was being sexist, and this was his way of repaying back the courts rather than going to jail.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I remember like there was an episode before they like a villain origin story episode where he's just like a back.
Yes, no, that was back in season 4, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
he's just like
literally.
fucking up the yogurt machine.
Yeah, like he's barely in it, but he never said an official goodbye. This is a
Hmm.
bottle episode, by the way.
Yes,
It's a pretty fun bottle episode. I have a soft spot for this episode because they redid this episode during COVID
COVID.
with Pedro Pascal, and it's
Yes,
amazing.
and I think this is the reason why you and I ended up becoming aware that we were both fans of Community.
Yeah,
Because it was when Pedro Pascal showed up on SNL and he kept breaking character
yeah,
during one of the skits, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, Pedro can't hold it together! It's hilarious!" And then I posted online, go like, "Y'all, you have no idea
yep,
how unprofessional Pedro Pascal can be." And I posted a clip of Pedro
yeah.
at the end of this episode, pretty much just trying to read the lines, and he just can't stop laughing for very good reasons.
To be fair, it's a really funny line.
It's just I don't know how Walter Goggins did it with a straight face myself.
I'm sure they did many skits,
They
like
had
many
to.
like yeah. The thing is, so obviously during COVID, they did like what's it, Zoom readings. They
Yeah.
can't cut through Zoom meetings.
No, they can't.
It's like essentially a table read. So yeah,
Yep.
he kept breaking during the sperm donation, like sperm bequeathings. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Bequeathing of sperms.
All right. So we're discussing cooperative polygraphy. This is the episode takes place entirely in the study room. So I would say this too. I really love the episodes. The last episode's also all in the library. Library? Is it a library? Study
Yeah.
room? Study room? It's a study
Yeah.
room. A lot of the bottle episodes are in the study room. This is post um, Pierce's funeral. He is a level 5 Lotus.
Laser Lotus.
Laser Lotus. He's in a
Yes.
cult. So the
And
show
he's
starts
in a
out with
lava lamp.
he's in a lava lamp. Funny enough, Troy sets off the lava lamp and tries to suck it up.
Yes.
Can't.
It's like
He's a
somebody get a
balloon.
balloon.
Yeah. Uh, it's a great joke. The episode starts off with the iconic line of Troy and Abed are in mourning, but it's in with the U.
I forgot about that actually. And then it's even funny because Eddie just goes like, I can't believe you guys actually did that at the eulogy.
But Troy didn't know it was with a U.
Also that. It's like you
Um,
were saying it with a U.
I didn't know that. I really like that Chang comes in and is just like, but did you guys hate Pierce? And everyone was like, no, we didn't hate him. What are you talking about? Obviously, a very like callback to not only Chevy Chase, but also to the ongoing fact that they did really hate Pierce all throughout.
Jeff especially.
Yeah. And that is when Walton Goggins, I actually don't know his main character's name, comes in and just like, surprise, bitches.
I don't even
I'm
know.
here to test if you guys killed Pierce Hawthorne for his
Yes.
money.
Which is the funniest part when he starts asking everyone if they killed Pierce.
Yeah.
And then Troy just goes, fine, I did it. You caught me.
My favorite joke, seriously,
Yes.
literally. Um, and that's how the episode starts. That's when the title sequence starts. And then the questioning starts. So it starts with Britta being asked if she's had sexual fantasies about Pierce. She does not. Then he asks Jeff if he's gay.
He says no. He's like, I've
Pretty
been
sure.
informed to tell you that means yes.
Um, Shirley is asked about like her pro life proceeds. Then
Mm.
he asked Troy what his name is. He wanted to answer Butts Carlton. The polygraph confirms
And
he did want
then
to answer
the
Butts
polygraph
Carlton.
person just like, he did want to say Butts Carlton.
Yep. Annie is asked if she was smart and if she was the genius behind the murder. She finds that very endearing.
I
Abed
would
is
too.
asked. Abed is asked if he 9/11'd anyone. Yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
so it's very very Pierce Hawthorne. It's very
Very
much okay.
Pierce
So
Hawthorne.
basically, the whole thing is just to get the gang against each other. It's giving like the documentary where he's trying to get the gang against each other.
Yeah.
Chang is asked if he's ever masturbated in the study room. He just walks out.
God, I forgot him. And then he just no, even better. He's like, "You can ask me anything. I will tell you nothing but the truth." And then they drop the question. He just stands up with silence and walks out
Yeah.
in shame.
Um, Abin is asked a very serious question. No, then they're asked like very serious questions too. Like,
Yeah.
and he's asked if she like has like um, what is it like about rent? Like if she's upselling the rent for the boys.
Yes.
He asked Abed if he ever killed a squirrel with a slingshot and then felt nothing, and if
Felt
he worried
nothing.
if he could do that to a human. Abed pauses and says no.
The pause is the best part.
Yeah, it's very very intense.
Hmm.
That's just the calibration round, and then
Yep.
the actual questioning starts. It's obviously trying to get the gang like everyone against each other.
Yeah.
Shirley and Britta are against each other. Britta is asked if she got high during Shirley's
Mhm.
son's baptism. Shirley feeds Britta meat in her sandwiches.
Yep.
Which I have to say, which one do you think is worse? Because I think feeding Britta meat is
I
worse.
think that one's worse because there's one is just fine. I will come to your event, but I will come to it in a way that helps me get through it. Because
Yeah,
like
but
it's
like
no worse than just like here, let me pop like some medication to
yeah,
survive,
but like
whatever.
they made it seem like Britta was a lot worse, and they've always made it seem like Britta getting high was a lot worse throughout that series. I
Yeah,
know this.
I'm pretty sure this is also before weed was ever legalized in Canada
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
So I guess that
Um,
makes sense.
they played off Jeff having trophies of his sexual conquest very chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, they attract the friend group.
Which is like, you know what? We kind of like, at least with me and my friend groups, we kind of just allow that to happen now just through our phones. Like there's
Yeah.
share my and I do that with a lot of my friends.
And he drugged them though.
Annie drugged them
That
for
was
a
too chill for
fucking
my taste.
project.
I was like, what?
That was, I think that one was the one where I'm like, oh damn,
That
that was
was
the one that
they.
went a bit too
Yeah,
far.
they were way too chill. I think Abed catfishing her was bad, but they I'm like you should circle back to her drugging you.
Yeah, no, but also it's just the fact that Abba's like, I was up for 3 weeks and I created a whole new language.
Like circle back.
Legit.
My favorite is that the worst thing Troy did was lie about the handshake. That's the worst thing he did.
It- it's how are you you are caught up on all of Doctor Who, right?
No, I am not.
No, okay.
Yeah, you can tell
We'll
me though because I'm very very behind on Doctor
okay,
Who.
okay. So you
Yeah.
know how the phone box makes that iconic wheezing noise?
Mm-hmm.
So they reveal that that noise is because he left the parking brakes on,
Oh,
which is like it takes away from the joy of hearing that sound.
is it as
So
bad as
like
drugging a friend?
it's not as bad as drugging a friend,
Okay.
but I think finding out that the handshake came from a YouTube video the whole time and was it just something and it wasn't something that they just did. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh, that genuinely hurts a part of your
yeah.
soul
It was a
because like
very cool
I do that
handshake
handshake
too.
so many times.
Yeah, it's a very cool handshake
It's
too.
a good handshake.
Yeah. It was a lot. Everything that was revealed was a lot.
A lot of good revelations.
Yeah. Everything was just. I think they just like steamrolled through it all, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Let's take a beat, guys.
Yeah,
They're fighting. They're
yep,
fighting. Chang comes in and it's just like I masturbated everywhere, and I'm like, oh my
everywhere,
god.
and just like full bodies emotes with it.
And the whole point is that like they're no like oh, and then they're like Pierce is getting in the way of us, and the Walton Goggins is like Mr. Hawthorne has asked a question for a while, and then they
Yeah,
realize like oh no, they're no better than Pierce.
yeah,
And that's essentially like the second act, basically.
yeah.
Yeah. So the third act is mostly them realizing that like Pierce like at least recognized that he was faulted. So at this point,
Hmm.
the arc is that Pierce eventually came to terms with who he was, so they had to come to terms with who they were. So then
Hmm.
they start having these revelations. Troy says he never went to Legoland. He just wanted them to think he was cool.
Yeah.
Britta admits that she does only gives money to homeless people when someone is around.
Hmm.
Annie hit Jess Alexis. Jeff rather look at himself and the women he sleeps with. Shirley admits that she can be passive aggressive and then says, "Fine, don't agree with me."
Yeah.
All at once. Abed's a silly.
And
Is
then she goes like, "Oh, there I go again."
Shirley is really funny there. I really appreciate the fact that like she at least is, even whenever she's honest, she's still herself.
Hmm.
Like she never breaks character.
No.
Abed says that when they chew gum, he wants to punch them in the face.
Yes, I
And
remember that one.
you know, and then Pierce has his final bequeathings.
Yes.
This part is actually very cute. This also feels like a final goodbye because this is the moment where he starts. This is the Troy goodbye, essentially.
This also really feels like it's Dan Harmon speaking through, because it's weird because Dan Harmon writes himself into Jeff, Abed,
Yes.
and Pierce, I think.
Yeah, you think Pierce
And
too?
I feel like he writes an aspect of himself in Pierce in the sense because like Dan Harmon is very much someone who's like he views himself as unlikable, which is why I think some of the ways he writes Pierce is of course Chevy Chase and how he
Okay.
approaches the rest of his cast, but a lot of his faults and a lot of the insecurities I think are reflective of Dan Harmon as well.
That I saw that more in Jeff and Abed and
Mm.
Troy than Pierce, but okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
But I feel like because at least because of how I view Pierce
Sure,
and
yeah,
Dan Harmon
love to hear
together,
this. Yeah,
I like to think that this is Dan Harmon's like his thesis statement on his characters that he's written so far.
yeah. I can no, I can see that because, like I said, I do think this is like this is like his letter to them
Hmm.
for sure. Especially like the Brita one, especially got me like the whole like you're much harder on yourself than, or you don't. What was it? You hate yourself more than you should,
Yeah,
and your passion inspired at me.
yeah,
Then
that's a great one.
that was really sweet, and I really feel because I don't like what they did with Britta's character. I really feel like she's a Flanderization. I
Hmm.
really feel like her and Jeff could have been something, or even her and like John Oliver's character could have been something. Maybe hear me
The,
out.
I see it, but at the same time, I'm like, I can't allow it because of Duncan just
He's not
being her
great.
psychologist,
Yeah, he's not.
right?
Yeah, that was terrible. I don't like how he treats her,
Hmm.
and because he became her psychologist. But like, I just she deserved better for sure.
She does,
Um,
100% she does,
and gives her sperm.
and then gets her sperm and an iPod Nano.
And yes, of course. Shirley is a credit to her race and gender, and he was intimidated by her. Yes. Annie was her favorite and gave her that tiara.
Yep.
Mind you, everyone gets sperm.
Yes,
Always.
everyone gets a
Oh,
canister of sperm, which is
yeah.
what always kept breaking Pedro Pascal. But also, while in that entire Zoom meeting, Dan Harmon's just like, how do we make sperm funny that many times?
Yeah. Mind you, it was like a nitrogen canister of liquid
Yeah,
sperm. Like,
it's just you see dry ice smoke coming out of them.
Shirley also gets a timeshare. I will say this: everyone, all the
Yes.
girls did get something, but the men just got like I think Jeff gets scotch.
Yep.
Also, Jeff, all that Jeff got as a note was, "Do you know you're gay?"
Yes.
And sperm and some scotch. Um, Abed is great
No,
though.
no, I remember the line. It's like, God, it's like, do you know you're gay? He's like, no. He's like, I. He's like, liars. A gay liar says what, and he says what, and then he follows up with, "Here's some scotch so that you are less tempted to drink this even finer canister of sperm." And that was the one that broke Pedro the most, and it will never not get me, nor
That's
will I
it.
ever forget it.
That's it. Abed is great because like, do you know you're insane? I didn't understand a single thing that you said. Here's some sperm.
Just the
um,
deadpanness of here's your sperm.
and then of course, then there's Troy, and you have the greatest gift, a heart of a hero.
Yeah.
Um, and here's some sperm, and then everything he owned
Yes.
on as long as he sailed the world and became his own man.
And
On the
actually
childish
saw the
kid,
world.
yeah, on the childish tycoon, which is obviously a nod to his future rap name because he had not become childish
Childish
Gambino yet.
Gambino.
Yeah, and yeah, this is obviously a nod because Donald Glover had chosen to leave Community on his own because
Yeah.
he believed he was ready to do his own thing, and
That's
he was
what I
purpose.
love about Donald Glover in
Hmm.
everything he does from a creative standpoint. It's the
True.
fact that Glover loves mystery and
Yeah.
he loves endings.
Yeah.
And just as we've seen in a lot of things, things don't get an ending despite the fact that they did or should have.
Yeah. I and I
Right?
do feel that the best shows know exactly where they're going to end from ahead of time, and I
Hmm.
do appreciate that at least Donald Glover gave his character that at least.
Hmm.
I
And
do feel like
it's not like they killed him off like they do in like Grey's Anatomy or something.
yeah,
It's
and
like
they didn't let his character waver like they did with everyone
mhm,
else.
exactly. Like they gave him a conclusion, they gave him a separate journey that if we really wanted to, we could return to, that we can hear later on in some other way, shape, or format, which I think is the best way to do it.
Yeah. So the episode's really sad because it ends with Abed, of course, saying cool, 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 and they confirm with the polygraph saying that he's lying.
Yeah,
It's a very heartbreaking episode because then the next
it
episode is a
is.
lava episode where he actually leaves.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It kills me a little bit.
Which also I do like that lava episode because of
Yeah.
Britta.
Oh yeah,
Like
but it's a
MVP was Britta in that episode.
yeah. I think that this is like one my. I would say that this is the episode that I stopped watching for a very long time because for me this is I don't know if you've ever watched The Office or we talked about The Office, but like I didn't watch past the Michael Scott
Hmm.
episode for a while too because like for me that was when The Office ended.
Yeah.
So for me this is when Community ended when Troy
No, that's
left.
fair. I mean, I brought up Scrubs. I never finished that last season that they put
Oh, that's
out with.
fine. We
Yeah,
don't talk about that season. I don't
I
watch that
tried.
season.
I watched a few
You
episodes. I
don't
was
watch
like,
that
I'm not
season. That's
making
totally
through it.
fine.
I can't.
Yeah.
But
It,
yeah, I get it.
yeah. Well, so okay. The thing with Scrubs is that to me, that finale was perfect.
It was, and now they're also
That is a
bringing it back next month.
perfect finale. We'll talk about that later.
Mm.
That is a perfect finale. I cry every time. I'm just like, why would they? Why? It was
The Book of
perfect.
Love is still that song holds so much weight. So
I don't know. I get really mad that like why did they come back and like why would I'm not saying he doesn't need to be a teacher. He was a great teacher, but like that was a perfect finale.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the next episode we're going to discuss was Garrett's wedding. We can go through this one quickly a little
Yes.
bit, just because like this is more of like a highlight, and this is like the second to last episode is season 6, episode 13, wedding videography. It's Garrett's wedding.
Yes.
This is the episode before the finale. This is kind of like an understood finale
Mhm.
of the episode because the actual finale is
It's more epilogue,
yeah, it's more of like the gang discussing what they would want as their ending. Essentially, I don't
or
even
like
know how
how
to
they would
explain this.
do a season 7.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. How do you feel about the finale?
Like the very finale, I think it serves its purpose. I think it's a nice little end cap. It's a feel good episode. However, I did always hold a grudge against it because of its MCU comments.
Yeah, I don't love it. I like that Annie and Jeff aren't together
Yeah.
at the end of it. I like the Rick and Morty nods a little bit because I do see
Yes.
Rick and Morty
I do
inspiration,
see a lot of it in it too.
especially the last moment because I see Story Train
Hmm.
comment. Yeah,
I will say this. I like it for the purpose, in fact, that it's not season four's ending.
that's fair.
The fact that it's not that, it makes it better because it's one of those things where it's like I know how bad it can be and how bad it could look like.
Yeah,
So the fact that it's not that, and the fact that from a narrative point of view that it's that much better, that it's so character driven rather than story plot device driven, I think is
true.
better.
That is true. That's
Yeah.
true. It's more character driven.
And the fact that it truly does its own thing, because like the season 4 ending, it is it's the new it's the non-Harmon creators going
Yeah,
like, we can do this too. Here's a paintball episode, here's our end cap for Jeff as a character, yada yada yada. and it's also a mix of the chaos episode, and it's all actually in his mind, and he never
Yeah.
actually rolled.
It,
It's yeah,
it's a what is it, a copy of a copy.
yeah.
Yeah. This is
Whereas
why I like the
this
season
is just
3 finale.
truly from the mind of a creative. I like to say.
Yeah. I would say it's I like the season 3 finale for that reason more because it's just like it's open ended. I will
Mhm.
always take an open ended ending rather than an ending
Fair.
because at least I'm like I can make it up then.
Mhm.
All right. So
I will
this
say that I enjoy, like, for the finale of season 6. I like the finality that it gives certain characters.
fair.
Like, I like the idea of Abed and Annie leaving,
Yeah, me too.
and by the end of it, we do get Jeff still at Greendale College.
Which makes sense for him in his
It
arc.
does. It
Yeah.
really does. And by the same time, it's weird because I'm like, Jeff as a person holds so much potential within life. So I can't fully just seeing himself committing himself to a community college. I can kind of see it because he owes that part of of rebirth of himself within that college. But at the same time, he feels like a character who would very much acknowledge the fact that I am not reborn because of this school. I am reborn through this school. But my development, my person, what matters to me is with the people that I care about. So let me find a new place where I can help others become that. So I don't really see him sticking around for Greendale
Hear
as
me out.
much like they have it.
Hear me out. Because we haven't talked about it yet, and this was something that I wanted to bring up before too. And I know I'm gonna sound annoying.
I doubt it.
I've also felt that Greendale was his own character though.
Yo, 100%.
So I feel like another character was Greendale, and I think
Mhm.
Jeff is also in harmony with Greendale by the end of it too.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
So maybe that's why I feel like it did make sense towards the end. Because again, going back to the episode where they felt that they were trying to Shutter Island Abed, and they're talking about you have to understand Greendale is a weird school, and they're like we had lockers, like there was a class called ladders. Like I just feel like it had its
There's a
own
history of ice cream.
baby talk. Like, there's just like all these elements. I do feel like maybe he has to find his own study group. I don't want to say that he's like inevitably to become Pierce is there. I feel like he tried to
Mhm.
realize that like Greendale, kind of like the Dean, like he had realized that like Greendale is special,
Mhm.
essentially.
The
I know.
dean in when he's making the commercial with Louise Guzman episode.
Exactly. But like Luis Guzman even realized that Greendale was
Yeah,
special, you know? So like I feel like maybe that's what it was.
yeah, no, that's fair. And
Yeah.
of course, like the most obvious aspect to having Jeff stick around Greendale is for the movie aspect. Because
Yeah.
when we do the movie, it has to be at Greendale. It has to be at the
Yeah, of
college. It
course.
can't be anywhere else, I think, or else it's not really community,
Yeah.
right?
Because like where what it wouldn't be a community movie without
Yeah.
Greendale. It's
Like
community
you can
college.
have events happening not on the college campus, of course, but at the same time, like
It wouldn't be the same. Yeah,
it's not necessarily the same. Exactly.
exactly. So because his law school, like his lawyer career, did not work. Even when he tried, it didn't work. So he came back. So
Hmm.
it has to be there. Um, he was a teacher. It will be very interesting to see what ends up happening.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm very curious to what that plot's gonna look like. Part of me also does like when that trailer for the movie comes out. I don't want to watch the trailer.
I'm really nervous about the movie. Honestly, I am very
I
nervous. And
I okay, for me, I'm not nervous mostly because I think Dan Harmon's truly come into his own as a writer, and I
truth.
think the actors who are there truly know and understand their characters, and they've all grown along their own creative processes that I have full faith in the film.
That's true. That's true. I feel like if Dan Harmon is behind it, especially because the actors are so solid now,
Yeah.
so it will be true. That's
Like
like
Alison Brie's such a good actor. Donald Glover is just amazing
really like.
creative, right?
I mean, Jillian Jacobs is so
Jillian's
great too.
she's
Even
in
like
Invincible. Like she does amazing things.
just in the Bear, she's like
Yeah.
so good on
She's
her
in the
own. So
bear.
is Joel McHale. Like
Yeah.
everyone except for Chevy Chase is awesome.
Yeah. Ken John, Jim Rash, we can
Jim
go
Rash is
on.
doing great things. Everyone's doing great things.
Yeah.
All right, so the last episode, season 6, episode 13, the episode before
Yes.
the finale, wedding videography. It is Garrett's wedding. One of my favorite jokes of all time is that's fixed Garrett. I don't know why that's funny to me, but this is the introduction to Garrett where Annie is just like, yeah, like that's Garrett. And Jeff goes, "Who's Garrett?" Or like, "What was wrong with Garrett?" She goes, "Nothing. Now we fixed him." And Jeff goes, "That's fixed Garrett." I don't know why that's hilarious to me, but it's Garrett trying to drink water, and it's just
He's
not.
just struggling.
Yeah, it's not successful for
Also,
him.
I love that later on joke of I forget the person's name who was vindictive against Jeff, but like they even go to Annie and it's like, did we really save Garrett? Did we?
Exactly. I don't know why, but Garrett's a great ongoing character. So out of that is obviously doing another documentary. He's filming everyone documentary style. He's doing little confessionals. The episode starts with a very great moment of doing what's it called? The
The
missing lover
class.
footage.
Oh yes,
Oh wait, sorry. Actually, it starts out with Garrett actually proposing to Stacy
yes,
in
with a class
class.
presentation, and there's like an actual moment of worry for Jeff for Garrett. Where he's like, oh no, this is not gonna go well for him, and then it does, and he's like, okay then.
And then Abed decided he was doing it for Garrett to like record the fact that he
Mhm.
was proposing, but he decides to keep recording because he sees Jeff's face. Because no surprise, Jeff doesn't like weddings, which is
Yeah,
something that is ongoing for forever. So now Abed decides to commit to videotaping and doing a documentary about all of Garrett's wedding and them getting ready for it. And then we have the opening credits, and then we have Annie doing cute little like montage of her talking to Abed because she's doing the missing lover footage, as she
yes.
and Abed explained to Britta, which is actually my favorite thing ever.
It's such a fun little bit, and
Mhm.
it's so enjoyable.
Yeah. Then basically Britta explains who Garrett is. Um, they she does a whole iconic "I live in New York" joke. They're basically just like getting ready for Garrett's wedding at their house because at this point Annie and Britta are living together. I forget how
With Abed.
with Abed because
Yeah.
obviously Troy moved out. Frankie joins them. Big fan of the fact that Annie keeps looking at the camera and Abed goes, "Can you please stop jimmying the camera?" It's essentially the whole episode is basically about their friend group,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of comments made about the friend group. Annie talks about like their friend group. Jeff talks about their friend group and essentially describes codependency, as Frankie points out.
Yep.
Hmm
No,
Um,
I love it because like it is an external evaluation of the friend group, right? Which we
yeah,
don't get too often. We get it every now and then here and there with like say the Germans and the foosball table,
yeah.
but
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, the foosball table is great because it really shows you how toxic and messed up the friend group is. But this
Yeah.
episode definitely gets into it again. They are late to the wedding and end up ruining the vows because they're late to the wedding.
Yeah. Because Annie and Brenna couldn't stop shushing each other.
They laugh during the vows. It's so terrible. Like
Also that, yeah.
yeah, it's so terrible.
I'm not gonna lie though, I have laughed at weddings.
But
Eh,
hopefully not when you end up like coming late.
no, I wasn't late, but it was just mostly because the bride couldn't keep a poker face, and you can see her scowling at a baby.
That's hilarious though.
Yeah. And because like they did it in a church, not to be disrespectful, but like there was a quick moment where like the priest went like, we're gathered here today for the holy matrimony of our brother whatever and our sister whatever. I'm just like, and then just like I whispered to my cousins like, sweet home Alabama. So yeah, I no
Um,
wonder why I love Community so much, because I am very much some of the characters.
um, what gets me about this is that then obviously after realizing they ruined it, they're like, "We're gonna fix it,"
Oh god, yes.
and
Yes.
Bruno does it by dancing.
Which we all know from the Christmas Glee episode that, well, of course she can't sing, but she also can't dance.
It ends up leading to the best moments in the series with Elroy admitting that he has an addiction to encouraging white people. Which I think this is probably, I think this is the most redeeming part of the episode for me. It's
Yes,
this moment.
I love Keith David. So like I can't, which is all genuinely part of the reason why I think I like season 6 so much is because of Keith David.
Yeah, he really saves it. This episode, I have a hard time with this episode for sure,
Mhm.
but this moment really saves it for me.
It really is, because it's such a funny bit for Elroy to have, but at the same time, like when you look into it, it's like this is a defense mechanism for a black man.
Oh yeah,
Like
it's a
this is
trauma
a trauma
response.
response in many
It's 100%
ways.
a trauma response. I love that when he says it's an addiction.
Exactly. It's like this is my fault. I can't stop doing it.
The
Rather
best
than
is
going like I am so damaged from white people hurting me in my life's history that I'm just now supporting them.
the best is whenever so then Jeff has to do the um they fix it so hard that Jeff ends up doing the wedding toast and reveals that
Yes.
they're cousins.
Because Garrett's brother somehow got arrested or kicked out.
So Jeff has to fix it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of other things. They end up meeting all the family. Frankie ends up trying to get Annie advice to keep her away from Jeff, which shout out to Frankie for that.
Yes.
So it ends up being Jeff is the one that ends up revealing that they're cousins.
But at the
And
same time,
what
like I can't even blame Jeff. He's
he was
just
trying to do his best.
like
And,
that's a good speech.
and what does Elroy do? He gets up and says, "This is a man who can marry his own
His
cousin."
cousin. This is a man who knows how to marry his cousin.
Um, and yeah, that's the episode essentially.
Well, okay, that's the
And there's a lot
episode
more
for the
to
most
it, of
part. There's
course.
a bit more.
Yeah,
Luckily with Chang too,
yeah.
having
No,
him
and
with
then
some of his
this.
best moments.
So I will say, this I have a lot of problems with Chang's arc because it's just a mess.
Yes.
But
Like
this is like
legit after season 2, like even with Dictator Chang, I will not deny I don't think they knew what they were writing with Chang.
no, no. But this is the moment where I'm like, oh, I think this is what I finally figured out. I'm like, this is what they're trying to do. That Chang is un, unhinged,
Yeah.
except when he's with this study group,
Yeah. He's at
and
his best when he's with them.
because everyone's like, I'm my worst with you guys, but Chang's like, not me. I'm my best with you guys. And
Exactly.
I was like, oh, and Chang ends up saving the wedding.
Yep. For better or for worse.
He says I'm my best, and he's just like, you guys are so messed up. You didn't even know what like you guys were related, blah blah blah, and they end up staying married.
Yay!
Yeah,
Not that me and Maria condone cousin
yeah. We don't
sleeping.
condone a lot of the stuff that we've talked about in this
Yeah.
episode. Just saying, just want to put it out there. Mario watches everything, and Johnny or Johnny do not condone incest or blackface. Just saying. I just want to point that
Or
out
being
there.
a dick to your friends.
Or yeah, but I condone. I appreciate what they were trying to do with Chang's arc after this episode. But yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot in this episode. But yeah, this was essentially a goodbye to the characters. This whole
Mhm.
episode, really.
It was so chaotic. I loved it.
They should have had the Nick Cage speech at the end.
Oh, that would have made it even funnier if like Abed just got so fed up he did something for it. Like,
Got drunk or something and just did it
oh god, have we ever seen Abed drunk?
in season one,
Oh
and that
yeah,
was the last time him
that's
missing.
true. I forgot about that.
The episode notably ends with an introduction with this guy named Briggs Hatton. He's a writer's assistant that had to come out and say that he insisted on an incest episode for Community as long as he showed his face at the end, just to point out that he was the guy that wrote the incest Community episode.
Which is like Dan Harmon. When like I'll let you do it. You just gotta do this.
Yeah. I feel like that was a bit, but it's also like, what is Hollywood's obsession with incest?
I don't know. I don't watch enough Game of Thrones to
We're too
know.
melanated for this. Like we just we don't think we can't speak on this, can we?
No, it's part of the reason why I could never watch Game of Thrones. Just like I've
Valid.
never gone through season 1 of Game of Thrones because of
Very.
that.
I mean, there's a lot. I know you like this episode more than I do. So.
I don't. I still remember watching it for the first time because like when I watched Community, season 5 and 6 weren't streaming anywhere,
Mhm.
but I found it on one of my websites. Like I sped run season 5 and season 6. Like I paid attention, but like it's not like I'm sitting down, I'm locking in. I'm like constantly doing something. I'm eating. I'll probably eat food and I'll watch the season. But like I remember this episode so well. Like I'm eating dinner with my family while I'm watching this and just like not caring. But then like as the episode goes on, I'm just like, sorry, hold up. I need to just I pull my phone out with my brother, my dad, my mom sitting across from me. I'm just like watching on my phone this one episode.
Staying cool.
And I'm just laughing. I have no chill watching this episode because it's that funny. With Elroy encouraging white people the whole time, then fucking up the wedding, and then
That
the
is a hilarious part for sure, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then that eventual revelation of this is a man who knows how to marry his cousin. I remember going back and just rewatching that moment because it's just done so well and it's so fucking hilarious.
It is, I think, like you said, it is obviously a trauma response
Hmm.
that they made into a joke. I think, okay, so we had talked about this before. We didn't really get into the representation too much. So I guess
Yeah.
this is like a time to bring it up. There's a lot. I will say this Dan Harmon does a really good job in bringing up representation in a way that is jokes,
Hmm.
as much as a white man can. like,
Yeah.
I was watching,
Without the lived experiences.
yeah, like I was rewatching the Abed Dad episodes, and
Mm.
like I was trying to watch the like the Iraq joke episode, and like his dad says something about like targeted like comments and something, and um Jeff goes, okay, I don't get the Iraq reference, and his dad's like, what about Iraq did I say? Like, what are you talking about? I'm just talking about Britta. Like, it's almost just like, why do you have to take it so far? I'm just making a comment. It's kind of like with the falafel joke. Like, we are just like, certain jokes are like almost benign, but like it's like kind of like there's layers to this, there's nuance to this. Like, some things are just um I think like obviously some things it would have been better if there was probably an actual there was more
Person of
melanin in the writing
color
room.
involved
What was
in
that?
many ways. If there was like one representative
Yeah,
of
I would
certain
appreciate more
cultures
people of
there,
color were in the writing room more,
yeah,
of
just to
course.
like help,
100%.
not to be like, oh Dave, or not to be not Dave, Dan, just not to be like, oh Dan, you had this wrong, let me rewrite it.
Yeah.
More so just like, okay, here's what you're trying to go for, here's what this means, here is how it can be interpreted.
Yeah.
Let me navigate you so that you can make the joke deeper and funnier while at it.
Yeah. He did his best for the like he brought up like he brought up representation in a funny way during the time,
Hmm.
but he didn't get too deep with it, and he did it adjacent enough, but also it was just like it's kind of like with Abed's like cousin Abra. Like, yeah,
Mm,
she was a woman in a
yeah.
burqa. It was like not offensive. She was there.
Yep.
He didn't have it be at all like there was nothing deeper with it by
Yeah,
any
they're not
means.
going like,
It
"Oh,
wasn't offensive.
you're wearing a burqa, you're oppressed," kind of thing.
Yeah, like Britta didn't say anything offensive. Thank God.
Yeah,
Like it could have been
could
offensive.
have been bad,
Yeah, and
but
he
also
didn't.
kind of in character for her.
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't do that. She just was a girl that wanted to have fun, and
Yeah,
they did that. And that was nice. And like it's like so he did show it, and it was nice. But it was a bit. It would have been nicer if like maybe if Abed was actually South Asian instead
yeah.
of like Middle Eastern. And I know like I'm sure you feel that certain ways about Chang's character, or like
It is. It's complex at the
yeah,
end of the day with
and
it,
maybe
right?
even with like Shirley and Troy's character. I can't speak
Yeah,
on. We can't speak about this. But yeah, I just he tried for the time, but it's very clear that there could have been maybe more POCs in the
hmm
writing room for sure.
yeah. Which I think he does learn from later on
Yeah.
in Rick and Morty, right?
Oh,
Because
100%.
like
Yeah.
I usually whenever episode of Rick and Morty comes out, like I do a little bit of my research, and I know
Yeah, for
like a
sure.
majority of their reoccurring writers. One of them, a lot of them are comic book writers, and a lot of them end up on Marvel movies too, which is
Yeah.
part of the reason why I know them.
I do. I also feel like he got more liberty with Rick and Morty compared to NBC, maybe.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly because like no one really pays attention to animation sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
I think you do get more liberty with Rick and Morty, like
Yep,
with animation.
yep. Mostly because like, oh, it's just cartoons. They don't people take it less seriously in that
Yeah.
sense. So yeah,
All right. So I think that concludes our episode of Community.
that is it for
We did talk about it a lot.
for now.
But
We'll come back with more probably.
yeah, for sure, it's Community. But Johnny, thank you for joining. Where can people find you?
Y'all can find me at Marvelous Johnny on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. Just look up Marvelous Johnny. Just make sure you spell it with two L's in Marvelous, just because I'm Canadian and we spell it with two L's.
That makes so much sense. I never realized that.
It was funny because like I was playing video games with my friends today. Someone wrote down center, and I forgot Americans spell it ER at the end, whereas
Yeah.
Canada and the UK spells it RE at the end.
Oh
We
shoot.
have a lot of words like that.
That makes sense though. Huh. Good to know. Look at
Yeah.
that. The more you know. Anyways, okay. And that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you found a little bit of yourself in my media fueled ramblings. Remember, whether it's a sitcom, a movie, or just a random moment in your day, there's always a story to connect with. You can follow the podcast on your favorite social media platforms. We're under Mario Watches Everything on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. It really helps our show. If you want to support us even further, be sure to subscribe, like, share this episode with your friends, and leave a comment. We love hearing from you. And of course, don't forget to follow our amazing guest, Johnny, on all their social media platforms. Until next time.